Yeah, I think so. There's we've spoken about the pressure on Celtic, and there's no doubt as kick-off gets closer, it's mounting all the time for them. I think the first goal is so important. You know, if Celtic lose the first goal, then the supporters will be going, oh, here we go again. The players' heads will be down. And I think, you know, if Airdrie get that one, and, you know, football's a funny game.
What's their best chance?
Scoring the first goal. If Airdrie score the first goal, Airdrie will win.
If they concede the first goal, then what?
I think it could be 3 or 4 for Celtic. But I'm going to stick my neck right out and say Airdrie are going to do it.
Paul? I mean, you're really underlining what Andy said, which was either it'll be tight or something of a landslide.
For Celtic, I probably agree the first 20 are going to be vital because we've already spoken about the pressure, but the tension's going to be there. They've got to start well, they've got to get a grip of the game, pass the ball early. Paul McStay, Peter Grant, very important midfield, both very experienced players, and they've got to get in the foot on the ball and start playing and passing under pressure.
And to underline how important this is for Celtic, what if they lose today? What will happen then?
Well, I just think the whole club is going to go back 5 or 6 years because obviously they've got the new regime now, and you know, there's such a great level of expectancy now for the club and the way it's got to go forward. And defeat today really could knock the confidence out of a lot of the Celtic supporters and indeed out the club.
But you're on Celtic?
Without doubt.
OK, and our match commentators at Hampden, Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Thank you, Richard. Straight to the team news. Alec MacDonald has 6 survivors from the Airdrie side, which lost in the final 3 years ago, plus Jimmy Sanderson and Kenny Black, who was suspended from that 2-1 defeat by Rangers. Sanderson is the captain and the sweeper. Diligent marking is one major quality, but they do have potential match winners, including the English-born striker Steve Cooper.
And this is a formation that Alec MacDonald has used most of the season. Jimmy Sanderson, an awful lot rests on the way he reads the game, the way he plays. The man-for-man markers, and Hay and Jack in particular, important for them. Kenny Black and Stewart the left side, Boyle and Smith up the right. But keep your eye on Harvey just playing in, Paul Harvey just playing behind the front two. And watch out for Stephen Cooper, because they tell me he can leap like a salmon.
Well, Celtic have had worries all week about every area of the team, except in goal, where Pat Bonner won back his place at the turn of the year. In defence, young Brian O'Neill sadly hurt in training on Monday, and Mark McNally comes in for his first game for 3 months. In midfield, Peter Grant, Celtic to the core, has made an amazing recovery from a knee injury in the last league game of the season. Up front, it was a question of form as much as fitness. Who would partner the Dutchman Pierre van Hooijdonk? Well, the vote has gone to 20-year-old Simon Donnelly, who played so well here against Rangers recently.
Yeah, Simon Donnelly got the nod, but I think Brian McLaughlin as well, Martin, will play up alongside him, slightly tinkering with it a little bit. Tommy Burns, 3 in midfield, 3 really experienced players, and it's going to be vital for Airdrie's success that they do cope with McStay and Collins in particular. If they can restrict the service to the front men, then that may be Airdrie's best way. But watch for McLaughlin, Van Hooijdonk and Donnelly. The rotation should be something interesting today.
Well, here's a real rarity for you. A referee who's a former player for one of the finalists. Les Mottram was on Airdrie's books as a youngster, but as Alec MacDonald will tell you, they've never had any favours from him yet, and they don't expect any this afternoon. Tommy Burns trying to steer a sure course for the club, but this season has had plenty of choppy waters, and against him today, Airdrie and Alec MacDonald, who's such a crafty character in management, and he has fueled such new ambition at Airdrie. Been playing the psychological game, saying there's no pressure on Airdrie, it's all on Celtic. There's a fair amount of truth in that. For the Dutchman, this huge figure, 6'5" tall, Pierre van Hooijdonk, came here midway through the season and made a pretty sharp impact. He scored in his first league game. He scored in his first Scottish Cup tie against St Mirren. And he also scored, as I'm sure many of you saw on Sky Sports, in his first Old Firm game. This is his first final. Can he keep the run going?
Well, who's your money on there? One of my favourite players, Martin, John Collins. I'm a great admirer of his skill, his ability. I think he's improved since he went from Hibs to Celtic. I think he's grown and he's matured into, I think, one of Scotland's top footballers at the moment.
He is Celtic's top scorer. Tosh McKinley, was a loser in 5 semi-finals, but here in his first season with his beloved Celtic, he's playing in a final. Alan Lawrence. We talked about potential match winners for Airdrie. They've had a lot of publicity for the way they defend, their hard work, but Lawrence might feed on those flicks from the salmon-leaping Cooper. And Paul Harvey there, who started his career as a junior with Manchester United. And behind him, Paul Jack. He's one of the markers. Really, Airdrie have got to get a good start in this game, you feel, if they are going to trade on Celtic nerves today and bridge the gap in league structure between the two clubs. Celtic, who finished 4th in the Premier Division, Airdrie 4th in Division 1. It's been a day of sunshine and showers. Celtic to kick off in what's been their adopted home this season, Hampden Park. At times it's looked more like a hoodoo here than familiar surroundings. This is a very, very big game for Celtic Football Club. Put out by Jack. Donnelly, supported by McKinley. It's Airdrie's ball this time. But we talk about Celtic's problems getting, of course, Celtic Park ready for next season. Airdrie, a real homeless institution at the moment. They've been playing in the Broadwood Stadium at Cumbernauld. It's an open, drafty venue, and they haven't been particularly happy there. Playing in front of very small crowds, and here they are in front of a full house at Hampden. Simon Donnelly hasn't scored in the senior side this season. He hasn't had many opportunities, certainly over the second part of the season. It's been a shortage of goals all round for Celtic that's seen them draw far too many games. Andy Smith trying to get it forward to Lawrence, who's got in here. Tommy Boyd says there was a dive.
It was a rash challenge, that's what it was. I think he knows that. That was a lovely ball from Smith to release Lawrence. He certainly had the beating of Tom Boyd there. He applauds the pass, and quite rightly. The first test for Celtic's defenders.
Harvey takes. And it's Van Hooydonk able to hoof it away.
Wasn't a bad ball. I always think the attackers have got something to complain about. If you play a cross in and around the 6-yard box and it actually bounces, and none of the attackers are anywhere near it.
Sanderson gets it forward, Bonner comes, it's a hefty fall, but he's up quickly. Well, Bonner needed to take charge, and he did. Headed forward by Graham Hay. Here's Mark McNally, what an opportunity for him. The cloud over Brian O'Neill had a silver lining for McNally. Pulled in at the last minute.
Oh, he should have gone right, Martin. There was a great chance to put a ball out to Boyle and wide on the right. And Smith just didn't see him. But that's something to look for. Jamie Sanderson twice now in the opening couple of minutes has come forward from... He really does play as a sweeper, Sanderson, sometimes 10, 20 yards behind his two markers. But what he's prepared to do is break forward into the midfield area and get himself on the ball.
But Airdrie have come here with great confidence, Andy. What about that? The royal pecks on the royal cheek, rather.
Oh, well, that's something new to me.
Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Kent, accepted it all in very sporting fashion. Here's Rudy Vatta, the Albanian. Paul McStay, of course, the captain. Both sides, incidentally, sporting newly designed strips for this final. With a very familiar colouring and design, the diamonds. Airdrie. And Graham Hay is the only part-timer in their team. John Martin is a real character, the goalkeeper, who shaved off his familiar moustache this morning. He's telling me it's not really superstition. He wanted to trim it, but made a mistake, so decided for the feeling of comfort and fashion, it all had to come off. Andy Smith is the Airdrie leading scorer with 20 goals. He's often played up front. He's often been used as a substitute. He's a midfield man today. Do part of the marking in there, which is the trademark of Alec McDonald's teams. Van Hooydonk. McKinley.
That's what I think, both fullbacks, both Vata and McKinley, the way that Airdrie play in the rigid man-for-man marking, Martin, there will be areas particularly wide. If the fullbacks are prepared to do what McKinley did then, go forward, they will find that they'll get themselves into good space high up the pitch.
It's a Celtic corner, plenty of movement in the middle. Oh, that was McNally.
Well, that's a great chance, and he knows it. A free header, 7 yards out. Good movement from Celtic. The movement was very good. Lost his marker. That's a glorious opportunity. Free header. Didn't really go in with, I felt, a great deal of conviction that perhaps a striker might have done.
I think there's a lot of feeling here that if Celtic were to get an early goal, they might well go on and win comfortably, but if they don't, Airdrie can prey on the concern that the Celtic fans are bound to feel. Jimmy Sanderson, like a good number of this Airdrie side, coming with the connection with Hearts, where Alec McDonald, of course, showed his worth in management. Throw by Butcher. Hay losing out to Van Hooydonk, taken on by little Brian McLaughlin. McLaughlin. Collins, who likes to stray into the centre on the left-hand side. Peter Grant so proud to be playing. Nice touch by Van Hooydonk. McLaughlin. Donnelly goes near post. Plenty of Airdrie bodies back.
Good skill from McLaughlin. Very tricky little player, so nimble on his feet, got good ability, didn't quite dig this one out, rather scuffed across a little.
Well, they came close from the last corner, Celtic. Drops over the same player, Mark McNally. Well, Airdrie have only once won the Scottish Cup back in 1924. One survivor from that team, Bob McPhail, who went on to make a great name for himself with Rangers, is expected to be here today. He's 90 years old now. But for the vast majority connected with Airdrieonians Football Club, this is a day to savour. Steve Cooper calling it the biggest game of his professional career. It's been a wandering career around the English clubs, his first season in Scotland.
And with Smith going up front with him, Martin, from set pieces in this area, they really should be a threat.
That's Cooper's strength. Smith trying to turn on the knockback header from Stevie Cooper.
See, I'm a little surprised that Airdrie, when they're in situations like that, they're not going to gamble too much too early. I can understand the reason behind that. But when you've got a set piece like that, and you know you've got two players in Andy Smith and Stephen Cooper who can win enough ball in the air, I'd commit one or two more forward from midfield. It was noticeable there that no other Airdrie player apart from the two big lads was in the penalty area.
Knocked away by Donnelly, but there was no one really, and Peter Grant typically is herring forward to try and put some pressure on here and force the error from the clearance to allow maybe Celtic to go with the second ball, which they're doing here with Vata and McLaughlin.
That's the ball. I think change of play. Certainly if you were Tommy Burns would be trying to get... And when you've got players like Collins and McStay who can thread that ball across field, I'll be saying if you get a chance, then change the play as often as possible. Push full-backs on.
Oh, Martin misread the bounce. Half cleared by Boyle, only as far as Tosh McKinley. Van Hooijdonk going in! Celtic have scored! And Van Hooijdonk, who makes a habit of getting the goals on the big occasion, has done it again here to Celtic delight. He's a huge man, and they couldn't match him here.
Well, it's no surprise to me. It's one of the full-backs that's a provider, high up the pitch. It's a good ball in, it's tempting. It's saying to Van Hooijdonk, go on. If you want to get yourself a cup final goal, here's a perfect cross for you. And Van Hooijdonk doesn't disappoint him. That's a towering header. Gives the goalkeeper no chance. Back across the goalkeeper. Down towards the goal line. Just about perfect.
Well, it has been said of Pierre Van Hooijdonk that he's not as good in the air as he should be for a man of his size. You wouldn't have known it then. Well, Airdrie were hoping to get through the first 20 minutes unscathed. Haven't lasted half that time because of this.
Again, he's unopposed as he crosses. Staying, it's so teasing for someone who wants to go and score with a header. It's a lovely flighted cross from McKinley. And the header wasn't bad. We talk about a great team spirit at Airdrie, and certainly there were signs of that in their build-up and pre-match. Well, it's going to be tested now. The one thing they didn't want to do was go a goal down in the opening 10 minutes.
But for Tommy Burns and Billy Stark, the worry was the longer the game might go on without Celtic making a breakthrough. Well, for the moment that worry is past. And Airdrie are going to need all that spirit that you were talking about, Andy. They call them the Wimbledon of Scottish football, the crazy gang club up here. They love bringing the rich and famous down to earth with a bump. If they're going to do it today, they've got to come from behind. Stewart, who was the captain here 3 years ago in the final against Rangers when Sanderson was suspended. It's a corner, forced by Andy Smith. To take it. Airdrie looking to bounce back straight away. Bonner hasn't claimed it.
No, he didn't get there, Paddy Bonner. Made the decision to come for it and really didn't collect it. Whether the right arm up there from Andy Smith would have earned him a free kick, I'm not so sure. There's Mottram giving a goal kick. The next 5-10 minutes now. Well, a vital for both teams. If you're Celtic, you'd be saying, go on, push on now. See if you can get another before the 20-minute mark and really kill the game off. If you're Airdrie, you've got to say, we've got to hold in now for 5 or 10 minutes. Make sure we don't concede another and try and just clear their heads. That'll be a booking for Kenny Black there.
Yeah, kick the ball away.
I think it kicked it at Van Hooijdonk, Martin. I think that's why he's been booked.
Black, who's only just back from a 4-game suspension. A booking is not an unusual experience for him. Van Hooijdonk, who was the player brought down for the free kick. McKinley. This is McLaughlin. Celtic, a club with a tradition of making fast starts to games. They haven't been finishing on the right note for too many years now. So Steve Cooper, who grew up as a boyhood Aston Villa fan, comes from Birmingham. And I don't have to tell you who his idol was in the mid to late 70s at Villa Park. It wasn't Peter Witt. Just as England's final was a repeat of 85, so this is a repeat of 75. Celtic and Airdrie then met in the Scottish Cup final. Airdrie lost by 3 goals to 1. Alec MacDonald and John Binney there. Perhaps wondering whether an adjustment's got to be made. But so far, Airdrie coming off second best. They have a free kick though. Jimmy Boyle to take it. And the aerial route, which has given Celtic the lead, may be an avenue for Airdrie themselves to explore. Certainly with Andy Smith and Steve Cooper. Black. Stewart's cross. Black. Leaving it for Hay. Graham Hay is a manager of a branch of the local building society. He also supports Rangers, which gives him a double reason for wanting to win today.
Just looking down at the activity on both benches, both sets of managers trying to change it a little bit. Tommy Burns stretching to the front three. He wants him to play 3 across the top, really widen it. They've pushed Simon Donnelly way onto the left side.
All credit to McLaughlin, he went ahead of that. Doesn't happen too often. Lawrence looking for a quick throw. Harvey making himself available. Free kick given against Van Hooijdonk. Sanderson will take it. Grant chasing his own header. Jack having to turn quickly. Sanderson. Celtic hadn't really pushed out.
Well, it was a little unlucky for Sanderson, just a little bit too straight. Need a little bit more width on that pass.
Has to be settled today, remember. Even if it takes extra time, even if it takes a penalty shootout, Celtic certainly won't want to get embroiled in that, having lost the League Cup in that manner to a team from Division 1. Boyle. There's Donnelly chasing. And Sanderson actually missed the ball. Well, that's penalised Celtic really. Les Motcham giving the free kick. Whether Sanderson just miscalculated or whether there was something more sinister in his mind. But look here.
Well, I don't know whether he just took his eye off the ball. He certainly missed it completely. And Donnelly's really unlucky here. Les Motcham blowing up when really Celtic had a wonderful advantage.
Collins takes it. It's over Van Hooijdonk, over Vato. Difficult bounce for Stewart to deal with. Celtic get a throw. McStay and Donnelly getting in each other's way. Slid forward by Black. Grant moving very freely indeed. It's only 13 days ago when he came off injured in the final league game and was sure in his own mind that he wouldn't play in this final, but they've been putting him in the oxygen chambers, though so favoured by football clubs these days, to quicken the recovery. Boyle. Well, Airdrie understandably looking for the direct route when they can to try and use the penalty area power of Cooper. I would like to have got more height on the cross there. Free kick given against Van Hooydonk for pushing Hay.
I think the one thing that separates the team, it is the goal, is the way the goal came. Airdrie have had good possession up in the last third, but the ball into the box, the final ball hasn't been of sufficient quality really to trouble Celtic. Whereas Tosh McKinley's cross to Van Hooydonk was a real peach.
Sanderson. Well, Cooper got his head to it, but only after he'd fouled. There you can see him leaning on.
Yeah, having a little tug. But even that ball's played behind Cooper. He would want that played in front of him so he could go and attack it. He's having to back away from goal, trying to get a header in.
Celtic actually finished with the poorest scoring record in Scotland's Premier Division. Too many potential victories ended as draws, so they'll be taking nothing for granted here, despite an early goal. Two up for Airdrie. Well, Airdrie were a little fired up, thinking there had been a foul in the first place on Cooper. Les Mottram, who had that accolade of being chosen as one of the World Cup referees last summer, he's continued officiating at international level since then. Stewart just covering behind Hay. McStay quickly on the scene, getting the better of Black, and then just not quite as silky with the touch as he can be. Still waiting, after 5 years as Celtic's captain, to get his hands on some silverware. Will it happen at the end of this particular afternoon?
I guarantee there'll be no one more determined in green and white than the skipper.
Well, if we expected a real Celtic storm after drawing first blood here, it hasn't really materialised. Airdrie have bedded into the game. Cooper climbs. Down goes Harvey, but that was Steve Cooper to a T. He was a schoolboy gymnast and high jump champion. He's certainly not the heaviest striker, but he's got this lithe frame. And Paul Harvey there was able to feed on the flick, and then he was fouled, which has led to this free kick.
Good position again. Now, can they provide the quality in the cross? That's all important from this kind of range. They're trying to give Cooper a chance to put his boot back on, and quite rightly.
Well, Airdrie feel that Cooper was pushed. Les Mottram waves away the protest. Alec McDonald's angry.
I tell you, certainly the arms caught. You watch Paul McStay. There the arms into the back of Cooper. You can see that quite clearly. And I'm not sure how much contact there was, but I always think it's dangerous when you do that. And Cooper certainly had a word with Les Mottram because he's just been telling me button it.
It's one of those that you feel would often be given outside the penalty area.
I feel 99% of the time those are given outside, yeah. But again, that cross wasn't in an area that's really going to threaten Celtic.
Stewart. Black battling against McStay. There's such a huge difference in the stature of the club. Celtic have been away for a break in Italy. Alec McDonald's had Airdrie training on public park pitches. Players washing their own training kit after the sessions All in full public view, hard to keep any secrets. But in the shape of this first half, there's been very little between the teams. But there is a goal between them on the scoreline.
Yeah, Celtic are winning the match without really playing well at the moment. Sometimes a goal early in a game, you know, it can take the sting out your play. It can take the urgency out your play, and I think that's what it's done to Celtic. And it's given Airdrie the opportunity to settle, and not only settle, actually push forward a little bit more themselves.
And Hooydonk the score. Cleared by Sanderson. Cooper steering it off. He had a look round to see where Harvey was. That was good play from him. This is Lawrence, who's stolen the yard here. Bonner's parried. It could have gone to Cooper. Instead it rolled to Boyd, who cleared, and now the flag's gone up for offside. But
that's the move of the match. That was super football. A good long ball played to the front man, who just nudged it off, and then the movement from here. Lawrence has looked really lively. Just stretches. He's on the stretch there. Across the goalkeeper, right thing. Paddy Bonner's up to it, but I just felt it was on too much of a stretch to get real power into his shot. It's super play from Airdrie.
Celtic unable to feed off Van Hooydonk the way that Airdrie did a moment or two ago from Cooper. Donnelly nudging away at Jack and fouling it. Donnelly did play in the League Cup final here 6 months ago to the day, in fact. A black day for Celtic. But he's hardly been in the frame since then, until he came back and played a full part in that 3-0 win over Rangers here, which set up Celtic for the final, you felt. Stewart, Lawrence. And he skipped away from McNally, and that's going to be a booking for the Celtic central defender, who was drawn into a wide position.
They don't look solid. They don't look comfortable at the back, Celtic, to me. The movement that Airdrie are producing up front really is troubling them. Both Boyd and now McNally now guilty of tackles like that on Alan Lawrence.
It's Lawrence again from a quick free kick. Can he get the cross in? Not quite deep enough for Cooper that time. Here's Hay. There's a little bit of an inquest going on at the back there as to quite how that free kick was rolled in quickly.
Well, they went to Lawrence. Quite simply, Celtic went to sleep.
It has been a build-up for Celtic in keeping with the unsettling way life has been at the club in recent times. The authorities finally ruled that Celtic had to pay Kilmarnock £200,000 for Tommy Burns and Billy Stark. That's in addition to the £100,000 they were fined for an illegal approach. There have also been rumours of disagreements between Tommy Burns and the managing director Fergus McCann over the buying of players.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, including myself, Mark, who thought that if Celtic scored in the opening 10 minutes, that might just be enough for them. And I tell you, Airdrie are very much in this game at the moment.
McStay did well. McLaughlin realised he got a bit of space. They funnel in well to Airdrie. A difficult team to crack, but they could be caught out here by Van Hooydonk's movement, but he's given offside. Must have been pretty close.
Good ball back in. They try and play their way out. Too many bodies to do that. They've got a little bit tight. Now look at Van Hooydonk. Peels away. He's not offside. You can see quite clearly. Sanderson, who, as I said before, operates so far behind the two markers, and he just walked into the space.
Lawrence, who's made a very bright start to the game.
Well, since the goal, Airdrie have been the better side. It's as simple as that. They've responded really, really well, and the goal seems to have affected Celtic in a negative way.
Celtic feel that they've produced their best performances in this cup run, particularly in the replayed semi-final against Hibs, which they won 3-1. Van Hooijdonk. McStay was challenged by Smith. Grant doing what he does well, going in bravely and purposefully. Not enough room on the Hampden pitch for Kenny Black. Van Hooijdonk. Batter. A couple of years ago, Airdrie were known as the bully boys, really, of Scottish football, the rough diamonds. They were often referred to. But certainly their disciplinary record hasn't been quite as dastardly as it was in those times this season. Black wanting too much time. McNally taking over from Batter. Into the feet of Van Hooijdonk, touched off to Donnelly. Third member of the strike force, McLaughlin was in the middle, but he's hardly the player likely to climb and convert across. Certainly not one struck like that. Tommy Burns committing 3 attackers to try and take the game to their Division 1 opponents. There's so much know-how in the 3 in midfield for Celtic. Stay and Grant and Collins. McKinley loves to support from left back. McLaughlin, who is left-footed himself, but has been used at times this season coming from the right-hand side by Celtic. But whatever they're trying at the moment, Airdrie are dealing with a fair amount of comfort, although they did get lucky, as the replay pointed out, with that offside decision against Van Hooijdonk. Just over half an hour gone. Airdrie 0, Celtic 1. The favourites ahead, but not finding it easy. And you do feel, Andy, that sooner or later Airdrie might get one right playing it into the box.
Well, I would just say, I mean, the plan of action would be, if you're Airdrie, from this, even from this far out, would be put it in there. And get bodies around for any drops.
Now he's had it. There's the drop for Sanderson.
Well, he won't hit many better than that, Jamie Sanderson. Beautifully struck. Great technique. Paddy Bonner, to be fair, had it covered. The header, well, it's a decent defensive header. Gets height and distance. But he volleys it beautifully. Goalkeeper's got it covered all the way, of course, but it was a super strike.
Jimmy Sanderson was Alec McDonald's first signing for Airdrie. Been really the cornerstone of the defensive strategy. Lawrence. Oh, that's a stray one from McStay that he was fortunate to get away with. Sanderson prepared to bring it down, showing Airdrie's confidence. Hay. Batter beating Lawrence in the air. Harvey first to it, then Black. So, news for you from England. Chesterfield 1-0 up against Bury. Cooper's flick, no one to fasten on to it this time. Forward from McKinley. Donnelly just finding a little bit of space in behind Boyle then. McKinley. And he's kept going. Airdrie a bit worried about diving into a challenge there once he got into the penalty area.
Super run from Tosh McKinley. I think the front three have really struggled for Celtic to make an impression. It's been left to people coming from deep, particularly McKinley, who does love to do that.
There's a tidy piece of defending from Cooper, back in his own area, steering it back to Martin off his chest. Been a pretty good season of finals so far for the underdogs when you think of Everton beating Manchester United. Ajax were just rated by the bookmakers as not as fancied as Milan last Wednesday. Of course, they went home with the European Cup. In the UEFA Cup, Parma surprisingly beat Juventus. In the Cup Winners' Cup, of course, Arsenal were back to beat Real Zaragoza, so maybe it's time for the favourites to come good, but it's not easy for Celtic here, despite the one goal that they've banked already through Pierre van Hooijdonk.
Celtic in the end of another one in the Coca-Cola Cup with the underdogs Wraith Rovers.
Absolutely.
Came out on top. No, but they're not playing well first half, Mark. They really aren't, Celtic. And Airdrie have responded to that. I think they can sense there's a little anxiety amongst the players in green and white today.
And the goal scorer is in a bit of distress at the moment. Well, football does not finish on Sky Sports. We've got the Umbro Cup next week, starting with England against Japan, Sweden and Brazil. Of course, great successes in the last World Cup, also making up the tournament as well. And in July, the Copa America, that is a major international tournament. It's spread over 3 weeks. Some 26 games. You'll see all of them on Sky Sports. Really is football for you 12 months of the year. And a little treat before the England-Japan game is an old-timers England v Scotland game. Is that right, Andy?
There is. My farewell Wembley appearance. I'm a little out of condition, I have to say. I better get some serious training done in the next 7 days.
But you're definitely playing.
Yes, I'm there. An old partnership of Gray and Sharp being renewed, Mark, I think.
I said it was old-timers. Well, there's an eye problem here. That's a contact lens for Graham Hay. Vision restored. Eight minutes plus stoppage time to go to half-time in the Tennant Scottish Cup final. When you think about the history that Airdrie are trying to make here, only one club outside the top division has ever won the Scottish Cup. And we're going back to the 1870s. That was in 1938. The honour went to East Fife. And it would be even more extraordinary in that Wraith Rovers have already done it in the League Cup.
They wouldn't have wanted that little break in the proceedings, Airdrie, man, because they were playing so well. That 2 or 3 minutes there we had with Van Hooijdonk's injury and Andy Smith's contact lens, it might just have made them a little bit flat, whereas Celtic could have regrouped. I noticed Peter Grant was going around these players, having a word with a few of them.
Still a fair amount of concern for Van Hooijdonk. He's moving reasonably freely in the centre. Lawrence up front on his own for the moment. Well, they call him Nipper, and he's looked very nippy, I must say. Whether Airdrie can capitalise on that and get the goal that they need to avoid losing the trophy today. They're certainly scrapping for it, there's no surprise in that. But they've also, at times, produced one or two attacks of real polish. Stewart. McLaughlin slid in well. Van Hooydonk trying to touch it off and pulling up with a grimace after he did so. They're going to take him off. Well, Willie Faulkner, a little bit unlucky not to be in the starting lineup. He's contributed all the way through this cup run. So he will come in and play in this attacking trio with McLaughlin and Donnelly.
Yeah, no real problems for Celtic in arranging or adjusting anything. It'll be just like for like.
Well, he's made his mark on the final with the only goal so far. Whether it turns out to be the winning goal, we must wait and see. Lawrence.
Harvey. Well, Alan Lawrence, Martin's been really lively in this opening, 40 minutes. Every time he's been near, he's made some lovely runs. And every time he's got on the ball, he's looked like he can trouble any one of the four across the back of Celtic's defence. What's a super skill. Lovely nutmeg on Rudy Vata, and he's clear.
Van Hooydonk with hamstring trouble. Remember, he had to come off in the semi-final as well. But nothing wrong with the movement from Lawrence for Airdrie. Airdrie, of course, have a fantastic cup record this season. They won the B&Q competition for clubs outside the Premier League. They only lost in the semi-final of the League Cup Coca-Cola competition on a penalty shootout. So technically, they come into this final having been with an unbeaten record in actual play in cup competition. You can say the same for Celtic, whose only defeat was in the final against Raith Rovers, also on penalties. Something has got to give here. Maybe it will take penalties to separate them.
Maybe it won't.
McLaughlin.
Yeah, he got away with that, Mark. That was a dangerous ball he tried to play, and it almost cut out.
Faulkner letting Batter take over. There's not too much penetration from Celtic, though. Maybe they can find some here. Grant knew exactly where McKinley was. Airdrie was stretched across. But Sanderson with a license to come out and attack the ball, which he did effectively and bravely. So too did Cooper. Lawrence chasing. And Bonner worrying the Celtic fans, but he knew what he was doing. Faulkner's flick on, but he was fouling Hay as he did so.
Well, Paul McStay's struggling a little bit, Mark. He took a whack about 2 or 3 minutes ago, just outside his own penalty area, and he stayed down for quite a while, holding his right elbow. What we just see is both a little nudge by Faulkner and also offside, I think, McLaughlin. But the main concern at the moment would be certainly Paul McStay. They wouldn't want to lose him.
Scot, a great servant, the physio. Looks younger every time I see him. I don't know how many years he's been doing the job.
Those pills are working well.
He must know something medical that I'd like him to pass on to the rest of us. So the game will restart after the attention to McStay with the free kick to Airdrie. Look on by Smith. Hay, challenged by Faulkner, couldn't really direct the header. McLaughlin was on it quickly. That was disappointing. Oh, but to Airdrie, presenting it back to Donnelly. McLaughlin, and he couldn't chip it up for Faulkner, who was trying to get in from way beyond the far post.
Well, just once or twice, Airdrie have really gambled on the edge of their own box. They do it again here and lose possession, and really could have been made to pay.
Well, Black wasn't going to pull out of that one, despite having been booked early in the piece.
There's a lot of players in the 30 years of age mark in the Airdrie side, Martin, and they'll know there might not be too many chances of cup final glory. Kenny Black comes into that category, so don't expect any of those lot to be pulling out of tackles and not being committed to the cause.
But it's been a strange half for Celtic. If you'd have asked them what they would have wanted before the game, they'd have said, oh, please give us an early goal. Otherwise, the crowd might turn on us, and it might be playing against their nerves as well as the strengths of Airdrie. They got that goal. Hasn't really given much substance to their performance since then. McLaughlin impeding Stewart.
There's no doubt where this should go, Martin. Last minute of the first half, this should just be Kenny Black's left foot, hang it over the penalty spot and go and attack it.
Well, there it goes. Over Cooper, not quite deep enough for the player coming round the back who was Boyle. Just a touch from McNally.
That was the best delivery. That's been the best delivery they've had from a set piece.
It's another Harvey corner. My goodness, it's another corner. Hay came in through the pack, and it was always looking as though it was going to be an Airdrie head to get to it. It was just a question of whose.
I think they got in each other's way. I think that was the trouble. When the ball was floated over. And now they're going to tempt the goalkeeper. In they go. A couple of them get in each other's way. Hay and Smith.
Donnelly. Maybe a break on for Celtic here. Through McLaughlin. Sanderson drawn out of the centre. Rudy Batters tried to support through the middle. McNally's header. It's back with McLaughlin again. Stoppage time at the end of the first half at Hampden.
Well, Airdrie will go in at half-time, Mark, and I think rightly feel a little aggrieved that they're 1-0 down. I think they've performed better than the scoreline suggests. Celtic, on the other hand, will think, well, we're happy to be 1-0 up. We haven't played particularly well, but we've still got the lead.
Well, there may still be time for Airdrie to change that. They have another corner. They bury it this time. Boyle. Cooper.
That's a pity, not a great cross again.
Black. And Gamble putting Hay in again there. The strength of Smith. Spurning the easy ball. Trying to twist and turn in an area where he might have embarrassed Celtic. Les Mottram has a look at his watch, sees that time is up. Pierre van Hooijdonk hasn't finished the half, but he's made a major imprint on it here from Tosh McKinley's cross. Celtic, like the goal scorer, climbing high at that stage, but they haven't really been able to build on that. Airdrie have shown some strength, and at half-time they're still in it, but they're 1-0 down.